Where is my record?
Hi, Roger, in front of his face.
Where?
In front of his face.
I don't.
Sorry, you're not feeling?
I'm blind. Can you see it? If you can see it, come hit it.
Your mouse?
No, the record button.
Oh. No, I don't know where that is.
Not? Yeah, we can hear
Yes,
you.
we
Can you
can.
hear us? Okay.
Just pause for just a minute. Emily's working on something.
There it is. We're good. Okay. I guess I will go ahead and call the meeting to order since we still need to vote on the board positions. So the Fire Territory Executive Committee public meeting is called to order at 6:03 PM on March 23rd. The first item on the agenda is approval of the November 17th, 2025 meeting minutes. We have not had a territory meeting since then, so I know not all of you were sitting on the board at that point in time, but we did circulate the meeting minutes for those of you who were on the board to review ahead of this evening's meeting.
And they are
On the back at Ledge, if anybody would like to review them. Yep.
So are you going to facilitate the meeing minutes thing or did,
Just until
okay.
until the positions are nominated.
I have no additions or corrections. Do you guys have any additions or corrections? I'll move that we accept the minutes from November 17th.
We will need to do a roll call vote when you guys get to it since Roger is on by Zoom. So just FYI.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Roll call.
Oh, roll call vote. I'm sorry. Roger. Steve Barber,
Aye.
Steve Davenport,
Aye.
Judy Fisher,
Aye.
Kathy Welch.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, the meeting minutes are approved. There is a copy there for each of you to sign before you leave this evening, please. Second item on the agenda is the board position nomination and election. So we need to vote on a president, vice president, and secretary. This year, the township has the majority vote, which means that the territory committee president would have to be somebody from the town. The vice president would be somebody from then the township, and the secretary can be from either entity. So any nominations for the board president?
I nominate Roger Ecker.
I'll second that. Is that okay with you, Mr. Ecker?
Thank you, Roger. Any other nominations that anybody would like to make? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and take a roll call vote then. Roger Ecker? Oh, we lost your sound there, Roger. Oh, thank you. Steve Barber?
Aye.
Steve Davenport?
Aye.
Judy Fisher?
Aye.
And Kathy Welch?
Aye.
All right, Roger, you are our board president. I am going to let you take over for the remaining nominations. I will bring up those, since you're not here in person, I'll bring up each of the items on the agenda list as we approach them, since you're not here to see it.
What's the vice president do?
Fills in when Roger's not here.
Don't all jump at it.
one to do that?
Yeah, I'll be the one.
Okay. Nominate Judy Fisher.
I'll second that motion.
All right. Clearly, nobody else is going to jump in with other nominations, so we'll go ahead and do the roll call vote, Roger. Steve Barber,
Aye.
Steve Davenport,
Aye.
Judy Fisher,
Aye.
Kathy Welch.
Aye.
Thank you. All right.
Pays the same.
All right, and we still need a secretary, Roger.
Why not?
I second the motion.
All right, Roger Ecker. Steve Barber,
Aye.
Steve Davenport,
Aye.
Judy Fisher,
Aye.
Kathy Welch.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Next item on the agenda are updates regarding the billing service. Roger, I'll have a copy of everything here that's being handed out, so we can get that to you. I did change, I gave you guys a heads up in the email that I changed the structure of the printout that I'm providing because we were wasting a lot of paper printing out the entire report. So I tried to condense what you guys are getting, and it just takes it down to kind of the meat and potatoes of the report. So the first page is the account analysis that shows the first 2 months of the year. We're just going to go by full months rather than bringing it up to March 23rd, rather than reflecting a partial month. So it breaks down the number of trips that were taken in each month. In January, there were 28. In February, there were 21. And what the gross charges are total, $42,491.90, and the net charges after contractual allowances and all of that is written off. So $39,111.75. We've collected some, so there is a payments column to show what has already been collected and what remains outstanding. And it breaks it down to a gross charge per trip. This is an average. This is not for every single call. That's just the overall. The second page is breaking it down into a pie chart for you to show what the collections are, whether it's a Medicare policy, group insurance, whether they were payments directly from the patient, Medicaid payments, and other. And also breaks it down at the bottom of the report to show the number of transactions, EFT, insurance, Medicare, check, credit cards, patient payments, Medicaid payments, et cetera, et cetera. So this has it at $100,551.64 total as of the end of February. Yes, sir.
Should I assume that the baby blue 50.3% corresponds to the EFE number?
Yes. And then the aging report is the third page that just shows what charges are current, what charges are 31 to 60 days old, 61 to 90 days, 91 to 120, breaking it down all the way to over 6 months old. So most of the charges are being kept current. We have had collection referrals on several calls. They do send us reports regularly on that to determine what should be going to collections and what should not be going to collections. See, so total outstanding as of the end of February was $77,194.32. And then it breaks it down in pie charts at the bottom to show of that aging report, which portions are which. Whether it's Medicaid, Medicare, patient payments, et cetera.
So I wonder if, is it okay to ask questions at this time?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm wondering about what observations you guys might have made about or trends or just anything that you've observed regarding the patient aging, since that, especially since that seems to be the largest category.
Yep.
Any observations, any,
As far as what?
so, I guess what I'm wondering, I'm fishing, okay?
Yep.
And so, because I don't exactly know what to ask for, but are they responding to bills adequately, or do we have a high number going to collections?
Well,
Higher than other townships?
That I wouldn't have any of that
Yeah.
information, unfortunately.
John's not here to ask what historically the ambulance service had, so
Yeah.
we don't have a history. So I can't tell you for us. per se.
I mean, unfortunately, there hasn't been a real trend, so to speak. Some reports that we've gotten had 4 or 5 names on it. Another one might have a dozen. So it has varied from month to month what they're sending us.
And then the board set the stipulations on what goes to collections, so
Right, if it's anything under $150, I believe, it doesn't go to collections, it's just written off.
And remind me, in that scenario, remind me when that's written off. Is that at 180 days after we hear from the insurance?
No, it would just be, it just doesn't go to collections. If the bill is less than $150, they don't even send it to us for determination, it's just written off.
Okay. Should I assume, though, that the 39,218 and change does not include any write-offs? That's what we're,
That is what is outstanding, correct.
well, if you, I guess from my perspective, if you notice that there's developing a problem or whatever with this, just let us know, see if we need to tweak out the policy or that sort of thing.
So the net collections, 100,531, was that, what's the time period for that? Was that last year up until this date, or?
last 12 months.
As of 3/6, but it doesn't have, I think that is total. That is 571 calls.
Yeah.
So that's
So that's
since
from
we
day
started
one.
billing.
They went until the end of February?
Yes.
Okay.
From June.
Yes, I ran this until February 28th.
25 to
Yes.
Yep.
February 26.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So going forward, it might be, to show a trend, it might be good to show the break of the year, to show.
What was-
And I know that just, a lot of that was just stuff in the first year, just get it started out.
Right.
Um,
Yeah,
maybe compare,
May, I think, was really when the bills started going, like that we actually got the billing up and running. So come May is when we'll have a full 12 months to kind of,
And I feel like they went back a little,
they did,
but not.
they did, but the collecting money didn't start until
Right.
May. But,
because someone said, well, what did you collect last year? You can't look at this and say, right.
right,
But you can pull that off the
yes,
annual financial report too. It
yes.
just wouldn't be broken down.
It's not broken
I
down,
guess we
yeah.
just need to state the period a little bit clearer on this.
Yep.
What it is.
I'll find a different report that'll do that.
Yeah.
Thank you. You want action on this?
Nope. Okay. Sorry, just making notes. Okay, next item on the agenda are updates regarding insurance. So first off, our property and casualty does not roll around until the summer, but we were told to expect deductible increases, and so on and so forth, to align with current legislation and updates that will be taking place there. Have not seen anything. We've gotten our renewal questionnaire that we've completed, but haven't received any documentation. We had just received a letter to let us know, hey, expect these updates because of the law. We are due, though, to renew the malpractice, the errors and omissions for the EMTs. This covers not only the full-time employees, but also the volunteers. Obviously, last year, we had estimated a certain number of runs based on what Union North Ambulance Service had been running, and we well exceeded that number. So when we provided them with the updated information this year, it was with a higher number of runs. So last year, our malpractice insurance cost $10,762.50. And the increase now is $12,735.63.
Increase is 12,000 or it's
It's
increasing
total,
to
it's increasing
12?
to
Okay.
12,000. Yes, it's
Good, good.
it's going up just under $2,000. So I did want to bring that to your guys' attention before completing that and binding the coverage.
So when you report that, the report is for runs completed, not necessarily called out and called off?
Questionnaire says
I think it's for the total number, yeah, I think it's both
emergency
runs and transports and,
But if you got toned out, got halfway there and it said no, you would still report that?
no, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think we
it
did.
was EMS transports or
Yes.
EMS report numbers.
Yes,
Because historically, if a run that is a refusal, so if an EMT does a refusal on scene, somebody's maybe involved in an accident but doesn't go to the hospital,
Yeah.
you're at a higher likely to go to court over that refusal of transport than you are over one that you actually cared for and transported. Because of the lawsuits with, now I'm injured, now I'm going back on the ambulance service or the fire department and the other driver for that. So.
so I suppose I am looking for action on this,
Oh,
just to make sure that you guys are on board with
do we wanna
the
go ahead and-
increase.
Do we need to make additional allocation for that? Okay. I move to approve the additional payment for the malpractice insurance.
Second.
Thank you. Go ahead and take a roll call vote. Roger? Steve Barber?
Aye.
Steve Davenport?
Aye.
Kathy? I'm sorry, Judy, I skipped you.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Marshall County, Urban Fire.
All right, the next item on the agenda are employee updates. Do you want me to start, or
I didn't know if you were talking about the short-term
that's
disability
what I was,
insurance.
that too, but
Okay.
yeah.
I thought you were gonna lump that into insurance stuff. Go ahead.
Okay. So one of the employees had inquired whether or not the township would be willing to pay for short-term disability for the employees as a benefit. This is something that would come to the territory first, though, to make a recommendation to the township. So I did some digging. It's not particularly easy to find a company that is willing to insure a government employee in the field that they are in. So that was fun. But we were able to obtain a quote for short-term disability for the current 3 employees. The total cost would be $2,954.08. That's an annual payment to offer them short-term disability. And that would cover, it's a 0 to 7 day elimination period, meaning you don't have to be off of work for 30 days before your disability kicks in. It could kick in within a week. And it would give them a 3-month benefit period. The most that they will cover, though, is 30% of their income or a max of $2,000 a month.
How does that coordinate with workman's comp? Completely different issues.
Yes.
Do we have any idea how this compares to other departments, what they offer?
I think a number of other departments in the area do offer short-term disability. I know Walkerton does.
So the
Yes.
firefighters used to have, volunteer had a disability policy at one point in time.
You know, like every 2 or 3 years, they used to come in and ask all of us for a pay stub or what our gross income was.
Right.
And we haven't had the insurance or anybody ask us for that since I've been chief, so 8 years at least.
So I'm not sure if that was something that
Chelsea
lapsed
changed
at some
insurance
point.
companies not too long before.
2 years
she
before I
was-
took over, I
yeah.
think, maybe.
And so I don't know if that was something that insurance company did, so to be honest, I don't know that there is.
So there's not one for the firefighters.
To my knowledge, there's not, because we're all insured under the same policy.
Would it be safe to say, or an incorrect assumption to conclude that if we were to add 2 more employees, then that would double the cost?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, I've learned that I talk softer now that I've got hearing aids. I can hear myself now. So, yes, I will try to speak up a little bit better. And by the way, I turned everybody up, so if you guys whisper in the back, I can hear everything.
Roger, he was just saying, so is it safe to assume that if we add 2 more employees, that is essentially going to come close to doubling the cost of the short-term disability? And it would. And some of that is dependent on age. So age is playing a factor into what that cost is. Yes. Or a maximum of $2,000 a month. Yeah. I think, let me see if it broke it down for me on the.
Maximum of $2,000 a month,
Mm-hmm.
so that's only 60%.
A month or a pay period?
Month.
What would be 8%? Well, it might be 50,000, would be 25,000. Yeah.
Based on their income levels. For 2 of the employees, it would be $1,500 a month, and for 1 of the employees, it would be $1,750 a month. Would be their benefit amount.
So, one of my concerns is that my impression of some disability packages, whether short-term or long-term, the devil's in the details.
Mhm.
And so what's covered, what's not, what hoops need to be jumped through, that sort of thing. And I'm not a person that can really assess that.
Sure.
But if we're gonna get a product that's gonna benefit our employees, I wanna make sure that it's up to snuff, that it's not gonna be more painful to use it than it is not to use it.
So,
Does that make sense?
yeah,
Is it more beneficial to give them a stipend and let them go get their own disability or short-term disability plan through Aflac or through?
so the plan that we had at one point in time addressed two issues. It addressed disability, and it also addressed accidental death. So tell me, what does a fireman have now for coverage if they're killed on duty?
Very little.
So that plan is absolutely gone.
Yeah, and that's through the IVFA. I don't know that,
See, the guy that came over to talk to us about that was, I think, Greg Miller,
you know,
and he came 2 or 3 times to talk to us about that.
and Greg is no longer there.
Right.
I don't know what the best option is for that.
Yeah, I don't know. And
I know that, so at one point in time, the fire departments or the firefighters' personal vehicles were covered if we were running a blue light responding to the station for a call. And my understanding is our current insurance does not cover that either. And I have
Yeah, it
mixed
doesn't.
feelings with that.
Yeah, we had
but-
checked on that.
So I want to provide for our employees, that's who we're talking about now. But I feel like we need maybe a little bit more information if there's scheduling somebody to come in. And I don't expect you, Emily, to dig through all of that, but maybe somebody could come and talk to us or something. I don't, you said that this individual came and talked to people.
yeah, Miller was handling it at the time, and it was, I thought it was through the Association of Fire.
IVFA has a death benefit, but it's minimal.
Yeah. Is
Yeah,
it
it's
35 or is it?
$3,500 or
Yeah.
something like that. It's basically gonna get you
No, this
cremated.
was more than that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look into it. We're up for our IVFA renewals. The department, the membership itself pays for everybody's membership to the IVFA. So we maintain that standard, but to be honest, I don't know what that benefit is, and I hope I never found out. And Miller kind of still is our policy holder
Mhm.
or our rep for
Yeah.
VFIS. So
Yep.
somebody from that office, it's not even Miller Insurance anymore, is it?
It's NFP.
Yeah,
Corhorn. Corhorn Financial.
Everything I get from them comes through as NFP.
Really?
Mhm.
Okay.
but either way, they might have somebody who will come and talk to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think it'd be wise to call them and ask them, and then, yeah, because I think a death benefit is important as well as disability. Because we went through the options, we would have to go back in the minutes several years ago, but, you know, the amount of pay and death benefit, and, you know, was more than $10,000. It was like 50
Huh.
or 100 at one point.
The IVFA is 3,000. The line of duty death.
Just 3,000 even.
Yeah, but then there's also, you might wanna look at it, it's called Heroes Honor through there,
Yeah,
and it's $100 a year per person, and they pay $225,000.
How much?
$100 a year per person,
The benefit is,
$225,000.
But that's for the volunteers. That doesn't cover our full-time
It says
employees.
Line of duty deaths and the amount, yeah.
yeah.
It's kinda interesting.
Okay, I will reach out to NFP on that.
Right.
So,
Thank you.
all right.
So I know Emily had sent you guys an email about compensation for our career folks. I guess I I gave kind of a 2-page printout. Roger, I realize you're not gonna have that in front of you.
Roger, I'll try to email it to you right now.
So basically is what it comes down to without going through this, reading it like a book. I've advertised through a lot of word of mouth, through surrounding departments and area departments, through social media, through firefighter pages, through the IVFA, and since the meeting in January, and have not received any returned applications. I've given out, I think, 3 and have not gotten any of them back. I've kind of laid out what some of the area departments are paying. Some of them are near us, some of them are not, some of them are close to our size. I have one gentleman that's interested. He's actually one of our volunteers, and he's at Liberty Township, but you know, he's assigned to an ambulance, a basic ambulance, and started at $65 a year. And that's a neighboring department. So I think that we're gonna have to do a little better on what our benefits package is. I understand we all had the anticipation of starting fairly low, and hoping to see what we could come up with, but I think right now we're not succeeding. The township to our north, they're between 63 and 66. And Emily helped me get some of those numbers off of Gateway, so I know it's not just what somebody's telling me, it's what they're actually doing. So I've kind of laid out what I felt we were gonna have to eventually get to. I'm not saying that that has to be this week or this month. On the second page, I kind of laid out, we've kind of had discussion of how we're gonna classify these folks for pay scale. As you can see, I've put first class firefighter, and that's firefighter 1 and 2 certification and advanced EMT. I'm not expecting to pay somebody that today because we're not in advanced service yet. Second class firefighter 1 and 2 and basic EMT, I put at $58,000. Third class firefighter would be firefighter or basic EMT. So if we decide that we can't get applicants and we want to train somebody's already an EMT or somebody's already a firefighter and we want to hire them with 1 cert, and I've put what I felt was a number with that at 55. One of the other things that kind of looms over us is all of the rumors and talks about whether or not St. Joe County is going to recontract with South Bend Fire. If you guys haven't heard about that, it's a $3 million and change contract that St. Joe County does with the city of South Bend for paramedic service. I've heard from way more people that say that contract is not going to happen than I've heard from people that say that it is going to happen. So it's not set in stone yet. However, if that doesn't happen and all of those outlying agencies have to create their own EMS service, that's gonna make the hiring pool that much more difficult. I guess obviously it's you guys' decision and to make a recommendation to the township and then ultimately up to them. I think that we're on the verge of being able to go to an advanced level, but to be advanced level and provide that level of service to our citizens, which is what we kind of indicated during our fire territory presentations and in our hearings that we would like to get to. I think we're gonna have to do better than we are currently. Don't get me wrong, our current employees are not complaining about their pay. They're not complaining about being overworked. But by the same token, I want our current employees that are doing a pretty good job to stay. And to look at another neighboring agency that doesn't run as many calls, that doesn't have to worry about a fire truck, like North Liberty, to be substantially higher at a fairly similar package of benefits, I think we need to strongly consider that. Looking at our budgetary numbers, I know that in our fire, when we did the territory hearings, we budgeted those at 65 and we lowered those to 55. But I believe if I understand the numbers correctly, we also budgeted insurance to be about 12,000, but because of the method we use to get insurance, it's only costing us about 4,000 per employee. So I realize that a $55,000 salary budget, but we've got that insurance money that we could make some of that up with.
That's not to say it won't affect this year's budget, but in trying to keep with, we have our max levy. We've got a little bit of wiggle room there because of what we had budgeted for insurance per person.
Any questions or thoughts?
So Governor Braun, the bill that was, I think, passed has to do with the consolidation of townships, that they look at who is considered an underperforming
Correct.
and maybe one that doesn't have an EMS service versus one that does, and some of the financial things in there. So if you think about it, your pool of EMS people may not necessarily shrink, it may expand, because if they combine two townships together, they'll try to utilize those people more. I mean, so less downtime and more. But, I don't know, I mean.
But that's also, I believe, implementation is beginning of '28, I believe,
Right.
if I'm not mistaken.
So not knowing exactly what the
Yeah.
methodology is behind that, it might be worthwhile moving forward on this to say that, well, we're not underperforming because we are addressing these issues, and, as opposed to maybe a township that will be one of our neighbors that doesn't have or isn't, have a fire territory and service combined, so.
How many additional?
Make sure you
Oh,
speak
yeah.
up, Steve.
Thank you. So we have 3 employees right now.
Yep.
How many additional hires did the township authorize you to fill?
So the middle of last year, or when we hired our first round of employees, you guys had approved 4.
Okay,
And so we hired 2 out of the first pool. Then we had 2 applicants that you guys interviewed the second round, and we hired 1 of those. And so I've been actively advertising, trying to get at least 1 more that I've been currently approved for. But it takes 6 to go 24 hours a day and to guarantee that service. And ultimately, I think that's what we need to get to. We cut kind of the 2 firefighter positions out that we had originally proposed in the territory, trying to keep the budget down below $1 million, which I think is gonna be, eventually that's gonna come to a head with dwindling numbers of people responding to calls day and night on
And
the
in-
fire side,
Increased calls.
and increased call volume. This year, we're at 116 for the first, up till today, from January 1. The first quarter of last year, I realize that's a couple extra days, we were at 137, so we're pretty similar. By the end of this month, we're gonna be close to that 125, 130 range, I would guess. So,
I would like to float, that we recommend to the township that we authorize, an additional person, so bringing us up to 5, that we adopt this proposed pay, salary structure, that we, I'm not making a motion, I'm just floating something. That we, upon the implementation of this proposed salary structure, that we then boost current employees up to that salary structure, so that they're not left behind.
Meaning that once we hire, that is when we would
No, I would say,
raise the current employees.
I guess I would say that if we pass it, then at the next
pay period,
pay period, that works out for you. I mean, as long as that, I'm not trying to say it's this hour, but at the
Right.
next appropriate pay period, regardless of the next hire, that they be boosted up
Boosted
to
up.
that level.
Okay.
So I'm just throwing that as an idea, so that if you get a couple of people that are, with this boost in salary, that they're not lagging behind, but honestly, I'm not quite ready to go to 6, really, but, and I know we wanna go there eventually, but, that's, so feel free to comment.
sure, and I appreciate your proposal, but it's a little difficult to fit. If we're not gonna make the jump to 6 and go to 24 hours a day, the 5th person
Doesn't fit in there very
doesn't
well.
fit in that schedule very well. So it's 2 a day, or 2 Monday through, it's 2 people 7 days a week, 6 AM to 6 PM currently. So we're using our 3 full-time people and 1 part-time person to fill in those extra hours. If we end up with a 5th person, then I can go 24 hours a day, and the 5th person would have a part-time person with them Monday through Friday, well, whenever their day is, but I'm not gonna have a part-time person probably willing to stay the night here.
Meaning that
So
they're
that's
gonna be
delay
waiting
the
for a
ambulance
driver.
response at night. Now, that guarantees me an AMT 24/7. So that's better than not having one. So if that's my minimum and what I have to work with for a while, or it could be left open-ended. I'm approved to hire 1, or I'm approved to hire 2, and when we do that application process, if I had 3 really good applicants and you guys wanted to make the motion of how many you were gonna hire then, you could make your mind up then.
I understand 6.
Pardon me?
I understand the 6.
What are your thoughts, Kathy?
That sounds good to me. Okay.
To go ahead and authorize a full 6? Is that what you're saying?
Well, when he brings more in,
When he brings
see,
one?
yeah, see
Okay.
what they're like.
Bring
Make the
more
decision
people
then.
in,
Yeah. that
we would
makes
be
sense.
very soft and ready to do that.
At least know that's the possibility. And maybe we only get 2 really good applicants to start with, and we have to build up to that. We've been building this for a year and a couple months now, and maybe that's the way to go. As long as we have an open mind and understand that it basically takes 6 people to get that 24/7 guaranteed ambulance.
What if, I'm just talking openly here, so what if we know that the late night is one of the lowest, except for the ends of it, so like 11 to 12, there's still calls that are coming in at that rate, or 10 or 11 or something. But then it drops off from like 12 to 6, and then from 6 to 8, it starts picking back up.
Are you
something
looking?
like that.
And Chad's gonna try to pull something up.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I have that graph from when we
Do
did the
you?
territory stuff.
What if we,
But the call volume has been so different that,
Yeah.
because I'm always looking for ways to cut corners, you know, I'm sorry, that's just the way I am, but what if we consider for the nighttime shift, if we had like a 5th person, what if we considered hiring a driver to work that shift with that nighttime EMT?
I don't think I'm gonna get anybody part-time to come stay the night.
Well, but I'm talking about a full-time person,
Right. You're talking a full-time person to come stay the
a
night?
full-time driver to stay with the full-time EMT on the night shift.
does that work with an advanced?
It wouldn't if we
It
get to an
doesn't.
advanced
Yeah.
level. So if we get to an advanced level, the advanced person cannot act as an advanced unless he's got a basic EMT with him.
Gotcha.
So that takes the next step, obviously. And that's on my list, but I would rather not have, I would rather have a second EMT if I could absolutely get a second EMT. It's 2 EMTs looking at a patient, maybe missing something. If it's a crash and there's 2 patients, I'm not relying on 1 driver and 1 EMT to try and split those duties. And then what do we do with a full-time driver? Do we put them under contract to say they've got to be a basic EMT in 2 years? Or when we get to that level, what do we do with just a driver?
Okay, I see.
You don't want to be in a position where you've got to fire somebody,
Yeah,
you know? So there's other problems that come along with that. I think that we've, you know, like North Liberty, they're paying some part-time folks to run their fire truck during the day, during the week, and then they hired full-time people to run their ambulance. But they're not really intermingling. So we're here, if we have to take a person from an ambulance and put on a fire truck or vice versa, we're trying to get to that level. So we can staff 2 ambulances. We've been responding on 2 ambulances. If a crash is dispatched with 2 cars involved, we try and get an ambulance, an engine, and then the second ambulance, so that there's enough staffing there to manage the patients without calling for mutual aid if we don't have to.
so if I'm sensing what the rest are, did you have anything else you wanted to say, Roger? So without authorizing an additional person? would you be willing to, if Mr. Haskins obtains 3 good applicants, would you, I suppose we could consider it at that time, but as far as he would know at this time, according to your motion, it's just the 4th person that you're looking at.
So you're just saying, let's settle the pay issue first and then move to the next discussion? Okay.
Okay. Would you, are you including in that the pay of the current employees would then be increased, like in the next pay period or so? Or are you wanting to wait until we hire the next person?
Would that be a second motion?
Yeah, I would advocate for, if we're having this discussion, I think we should boost them up soon.
You're gonna have to get someone to apply. And then if we get one, great, that fills the 4th slot. If we get 3, then he comes back to us and says, okay, look, fellas, this is what we have. We haven't had a full staff yet this year, but yet our budget reflects more than that, so we wouldn't be over for a budget year. But knowing that in order to go advanced, we have to have the 6th person, and that probably says that next budget year, then, we know where we have to be.
Is there a second for the,
I second.
oh, you said Judy seconds that. Judy seconds your motion.
I'd like to make a comment that I think if you're going to advertise that this is where we're willing to hire somebody in, that the current employees should be at that level. Okay, I misunderstood then, Roger, because to me it sounded like you were saying, when we hire somebody in, then we will boost our current employees. Okay. Okay,
Okay. So we're on the same page.
yep.
You want to facilitate the vote, Roger? Or do you want Emily to do that?
Okay.
Okay.
All right, well, let's take a roll call vote on accepting the current pay scale as presented by the fire chief and bringing our current employees up to that level. And again, this is a recommendation to the township. The township will then vote on this. Roger? Steve Barber?
Aye.
Steve Davenport?
Aye.
Judy Fisher?
Aye.
Kathy Welch?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay,
Thank you.
all right. Any other updates that you had along that line, or are we?
No, we can move on to.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is to attempt to set the 2026 meeting schedule. So I've got some proposed dates. These obviously will fluctuate some if we have employees that are going to need to be, or applicants to interview. But this would get us through, talking about the budget season and the adoption and all of those necessary meetings and then end of the year things. So the dates that I would like to propose would be May 18th.
Is that a Monday?
Yes,
What month?
May 18th, Monday, July 27th, Wednesday, September 16th, Wednesday, September 30th, and Wednesday, December 16th, I believe. Let me double check the last one that that's the correct day of the week. Yes. And those are also the dates that I would be proposing for the township then to continue doing these dual meetings, because I think that's very convenient for the township to not have to be called in repeatedly for meetings when we can knock them out in one day. Does anybody have any immediate issues that they know of with that proposal? And again, there could be special meetings that need to be called for interviews, or if something else should arise that I would reach out, but I'd like to get these actually set on the calendar.
That's wonderful.
Okay.
I'm good with it.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, good of the order announcements or updates from the fire department. I'm gonna jump in with one really quickly, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Okay, we do have a letter from the CTE program in Plymouth, just thanking the department and by extension, the territory and the township for the donation of the air packs and.
Air packs and masks.
Yes. They said your support plays a critical role in helping us deliver high-quality hands-on learning experiences for our students. Access to real-world industry-appropriate equipment allows students interested in firefighting and emergency medical services to develop essential skills, better understand professional expectations, and gain confidence as they prepare for future careers in public safety. We are deeply grateful for your commitment to supporting student learning and for investing in the next generation of firefighters and EMTs. Et cetera, et cetera. Thank you again for your generosity and continued support. So I just thought you guys would all like to hear that. That it was 8 SCBA air bottles, 8 SCBA packs, and 19 SCBA masks that were donated. Okay, that was all I. Why? Yeah. Well, I think several of our cadets.
We have 4 members that were part of the CTE program.
Yeah, I mean, we had cadets that turned into volunteers when they turned 18. They went through the CTE,
Yeah.
and several of them are now full-time people on various departments. So it's,
Plymouth Fire just hired a medic candidate full-time that came out of the CTE program, so they're teaching them, training them, and so they're familiar with who the kids are before they even become applicants.
What is a medic candidate?
She's in medic school.
a paramedic.
So they've hired her to be a paramedic, but she's still a candidate, she's not through training in class yet. So. Couple things I have, one, engine 4, which is our oldest truck in the station, it's having some brake issues, they're locking up basically. The other day, they tried to back it out, and it took them 8 or 10 minutes just to get the brakes released so that they could back it out of the station. So that's going in the morning to get some service and work done on. I don't know what that's gonna entail. We were having some sticking trouble, but it'd be just forward or backwards once or twice, and then they would break loose like they were rusting and getting stuck. But I have my daily crews moving every fire truck at least once a week, and so cycling valves and stuff should help us in maintenance in the long run, but that truck is still giving us issues. I would like to apply through the county safety grant through the commissioners for the $50,000 for communication equipment, 800 portables and some pagers. I've got a quote I went to a little cheaper radio than these. They're just as capable. Polk Township's been running them for a couple year now, and they're doing well. So I would like, hopefully get approval from you folks and the township to apply for that. Right at $51,000.
Do you know how many that,
So the radios, 20 radios was 51,000 and change.
Okay.
For 20 portables. I'm hoping to break that down to like 18 and then 4 or 5 pagers so that I get a few pagers and some radios. And then almost everybody on the department will have a new radio, at least within the last 4 years. So then it's just maintenance batteries. So I would assume that we need a motion if you
that's the way that, yeah, the way that the resolution that they adopted this year sounded is that this is going to be in perpetuity, at least for now.
And they just finished that a couple
Correct.
weeks ago.
Yes.
We got the paperwork, so we couldn't do anything prior
Yeah.
to that.
Second.
Okay, I'll go ahead and take a roll call then. Roger? Steve Barber?
Aye.
Steve Davenport?
I,
Judy Fisher?
Aye.
Kathy Welch?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. The last thing that I have on my list for this meeting is going to an advanced level. It's gonna take a while to get to that level, so I'm not saying we're gonna go to that level tomorrow, but it's going to take a few months or several months to get the licensing and the equipment and the rest of the training. So I guess is what I'm asking for is that you guys' prerogative to allow us to get to that level. Like I said, I'm not wanting to go to that level next month or probably, if I had to guess, it's gonna be at least the third quarter, if not the fourth quarter of the year before we got to that level. Obviously, staffing plays a big role of that. Hopefully by the middle of June, all 3 of our current full-time members will be at an advanced level. Plus myself and one of our part-time folks will be at an advanced level. That's getting close, but not quite there yet. Equipment-wise, medicine-wise, it costs about $11,000 to get the equipment that's required, the medicines that's required. I think as I'm halfway through advanced class, the level of care that we can offer to the citizens is tenfold what a basic can. First line cardiac drugs for full arrest, numerous things, nitro. Did somebody say something?
No.
I'm going deaf. Nitroglycerin for chest pain, things like that. We well exceeded our paramedic assist payments at $300 a trip from Bremen. Last year, we had to do an additional appropriation for that. I think we could easily cut those in half if we were at an advanced level. So like I said, I'm not necessarily asking for any motion, just some open comments about, yeah, I think this is where we need to go, work towards that, or if you guys are gonna be adamantly against it, I would need to know that as well.
So if I can't remember the exact number, but last year with a shortened year, realizing that we started getting, started doing billing 2 or 3 months into the year. But last year we got maybe 70,000.
I was gonna say 80, but yeah, maybe.
Yeah. And then this year, you're just gonna have a full year, so if we estimated 100,000 that we're gonna get for, running basic, do you have any kind of guess with, assuming the number of calls or whatever that we respond to and submit for payment. Do you have any guess as to what that does to, in advance would do to that?
Gotta change your rate.
Right, it
You guys-
changes your
When you
billing
guys
rate.
approved the rates, you had the BLS, and then you had 2 or 3 different levels of ALS, so it's gonna change your base rate of what you're charging if they need ALS treatments. So, I mean, theoretically, it should raise your number.
So I don't know, I don't think it would probably double it, because just because we have the ability to be advanced, there's calls that would need advanced service. So we would still run them as a basic level. We're not gonna charge people more if we don't have to charge them more. If you start an IV, then you're at an ALS level, an advanced life support level. So somebody that's got chest pain, heart problems, potential heat stroke or stroke in general, our own firefighters. We would be able to have the ability to start an IV, run normal salines on a 95-degree structure fire or a really long field fire that firefighters are getting overheated on. We'd be able to care for those folks in a timely manner versus, are we gonna pay Tri-County to come over and stand by for us? We probably wouldn't. We just wouldn't call them because that's the way it is. Obviously, if we had a firefighter that was having a heat stroke or a heart attack, obviously we'd call for a medic assist, just like we always do. But I think the benefits far outweigh the cost. And to be honest, I don't know what the billing rates are for ALS. If we get a medic assist, we have to pay for the $300, whether we recoup any of that or not, doesn't matter. So I'm just looking for some guidance. I know that some of my folks want to. We're trained to help people. They want to be able to help people to the highest level we can. And then if this, and I hate to go back to what ifs, I hate what ifs, but kind of as a fire chief, you've got a plan for what if this, what if that. I can't, every time I drive through LaPaz, what if the old Pat's Bar building was on fire? How do you plan for that? If the St. Joe County doesn't do the contract, am I still going to be able to get a South Bend medic for a medic assist? I don't know if those are available. The Plymouth Hospital has been throwing fits if we take any minor trauma even to their hospital because they don't want them. They think the patient needs to go to a trauma center. That's a whole other issue in and of itself, but that's where I'm at. I need to know if that's where we're gonna go as an agency, as an organization, or if we do not want to work to that level.
I like the idea of an advance.
Your people are training for that, have the abilities already to do that, why shouldn't we do that?
That's kind of my opinion. I just wanted the official, let's go to that level and do the best we can. Yep. And before COVID, Plymouth shut off medic assist. And so that really hurt us in our advanced level of care for the citizens that we're caring for, so.
So my next question has to do with, that refers back to your chart of salary ranges
Yep.
in the area. And so
I don't think we should go to Class 1 firefighter until we're providing an advanced service.
I guess what I'm wondering is, under the proposal, with advanced EMT and firefighter 1 or 2, you've got 62.5.
Mm-hmm.
For an advanced EMT who's firefighter 1 and 2, do you believe that 62.5 is gonna be sufficient to keep them here?
I think the board has the ability to show that appreciation at any given time. So if we get more people hired and we get to an advanced level and we're providing that service and you guys are happy with it, then you guys can offer raises anytime you want. Kind of like what I said when we started at $50,000 a year or $55,000 a year. We can always go up. If I'm I'm hearing people say, the responsibility of starting IVs and advanced procedures isn't worth $62,000 to me, I'm gonna stay a basic, then we could address that at that time.
And then, the last question I can think of at the moment is, remind me again, what would need to happen according to state regs or whatever for us to be able to say that we're gonna be an advanced operation?
So there's another certification that we have to go through. They come and inspect our ambulances, just like when we went to a basic level. When we became a transporting agency and take that responsibility from the ambulance service, the gentleman from the state, from DHS, by the name of Travis Cleary, he came and talked to us. He inspected the ambulances. Chad and I and Kylie, being the EMS training officer, met with our medical director and our EMS coordinator for the area from the hospital. They approve it. When we talked to them initially and said that we would like to do this down the road, they were on board with it, because obviously they're in favor of us providing the highest level of care we can. Other than that, it comes down to personnel training and the equipment on the ambulance.
Is there a certain percentage of employees that have to be at the advanced level?
No, the only stipulation is your first ambulance leaving the station has to be able to provide an advanced level of service. Now, that doesn't necessarily have to be the person on the ambulance. If I've got people on vacation and Chad's at home and there's two basics and he responds with a fire truck, that qualifies as that. As long as that ambulance has the ability, when it gets to the patient, to provide advanced level of service.
So how does that affect, somebody's on a call, and how does that affect the second ambulance?
It operates at a basic level.
If you don't have an
If you
advanced
don't have an
person,
advanced.
it's
They're
a
okay to
basic
operate as a
level.
basic level.
But it doesn't interfere with or have a negative effect on us calling ourselves an advanced operation?
No, just your first ambulance. I did clinical ride time as part of the advanced level training at Plymouth the other day, and they have 3 ambulances there, but they only had 1 medic on staff, and it was a part-time gentleman because 2 of them were on vacation. Him and I, because I was riding with him, was responding in their chase vehicle, their SUV, and then if that ambulance, when it was on a call, if their patient did not need a medic, we went back in service and waited for the next call. They transported at a basic level. Now, the only thing that could create in the future, we may have to break up our part-time staffing, maybe get from right now, our basic EMTs are making 16 an hour. Maybe they're gonna, part-time might have to go to 18 an hour if at some point in time we've gotta have a part-time advanced person. That's in the future and not a huge concern at the moment.
Would it be fair to say that if we were to do this, then we would have to go to 6?
So it doesn't say that it has to be, it just has to have the ability to leave or respond at an ALS level. Doesn't say it has to respond in 1 minute or 2 minutes. So if things came to a problem to where there was only 1 person here and he was an advanced, then the volunteer driver would come from home. My highly recommendation would be that we need to get to the 6 people to be able to guarantee that. Because then if one partner happens to be on vacation or 2 people, somebody gets injured and they're out for 4 months, then we can make that up with our staffing. And if this does not drastically change the number of applicants that we get, that would prolong us from getting to that advanced level. I'm not going to push us to that level. That's a lot of stress and anxiety on me and Chad, who does all the scheduling for me. That's a lot of stress and strain to figure that out.
Well, as you can guess, I am still a little nervous about getting to 6. But the other information that you provided, I'm okay with moving in that direction, I'm just not sure I'm on the same timetable as you are, but, so, I don't know about the rest of the board.
I understand.
So I'm gonna stop, I'm gonna ask, so why wouldn't you want the sixth person? Why? Is it surely promise that's been made to keep a budget below a certain amount? Or do you think we're gonna exceed our budget, or, I think we need to know why? Because, if we're pushing to provide advanced service, we're bumping up the pay, but yet they're saying, well, we can't go to 6, we don't wanna go to 6, then why are we even doing that? That's what I'm asking.
Right, so, we still have a big outstanding obligation that we haven't really talked about tonight, and that's housing. You've mentioned a couple of times tonight that
It's gonna fall under the township,
Yeah,
that's why.
It's on my list, I just wasn't gonna bring it up.
That's right, I understand that, but I just think that there are some obligations that need to be dealt with before we can make a decision about going to that number of staffing levels, because the spending for housing is basically a one-time thing, but once you go up to the sixth person, then it's like, this is an ongoing cost that we have to bear. And so that's my concern.
I guess my only comment to that is it doesn't really change our budget. Our budget is still budgeted for 6 people. And so the money's there whether we hire them or not. And so the burden on the taxpayers is there whether we hire them or not. Unless your intention is to try and drop the budget back to 5 people. And at some point in time, I feel like we created a fire territory and advertised the fire territory to be a certain thing. Just food for thought.
And that's some of the pushback that we've gotten recently, when there was the discussion about call response time and so on and so forth. Well, until we get to that 24/7 staffing level, that's part of the reality.
And I accept that responsibility for pushing for lower budget numbers. I accept that. And as I attempt to thread the needle, wanting to provide services that are going to meet the needs of our community, but not have it too much. That's what I've been trying to do from the beginning, basically.
I think we all did when we established the initial wage scale, thinking that, well, I think we can get by with this, but it's obvious that
You
we
can't.
can't attract anybody or fewer by doing that, so, we have to stop and rethink that. And, thanks to you to point that out.
And I was on board with the lower dollar amount because in my mind, I'm like, if I was a new firefighter, I would have jumped at the opportunity of $50,000, but that was 20 years ago. And unfortunately,
And when you're neighboring areas, I
Yeah.
mean, these are people that are immediate neighbors to us that if they're gonna hire somebody in at 60, 65,000, that really kind of forces our hand.
It forces us to rethink our
Yeah.
strategy to get to
yeah.
ALS or full staff and better service.
And I like the gentleman that works for us part-time. He's also a volunteer and he's a good dude. He comes down here and hangs out and stays for free of charge. I asked him, well, I can't do it for 50,000. I can't do it for 55,000 a year. So and I understand, I don't wanna leave a job for less money unless there's a really big benefit somewhere. So it's kind of a trade-off. And like I said, I was all in favor of, and we were asked several times, do you think you can get staff for 50,000 or 55,000 like we budgeted? And I was the first to say, well, I would hope we can. And I'm the first to say I was wrong. So I didn't want to be wrong.
Well, I think St. Joe County territory, they're 85, somewhere in there that they're hiring in it. I mean, it's,
And we're never going to be at that level.
gosh, no.
And I think we all realize that, but we've also got to be competitive. Even if we get retired guys from South Bend that have been there for 20 years and they just want to slow down and still do it, they're still not going to do it for 50. So I think we're making good strides and a lot of good discussions, and we're trying to get better, and that's all we can do.
Anybody else want to weigh in, feel free to.
If you budgeted for 6, that's what we should honor.
I mean, originally it was 8, we've dropped the budget to 6, because the 6 is the bare minimum to guarantee 24/7 coverage. I feel like in good faith, that's the least we can do, in my opinion. It's not always my decision, I understand that.
Anybody have any public comment?
Oh, you're asking the public.
Did you foresee all these little bumps in the road when we started this?
A few.
I think we knew there's,
But we still all talk to each other, so.
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
good sign.
I'll second that motion, Roger.
okay, I'll go ahead and take a roll call. Roger? Steve Barber?
Aye.
Steve Davenport? Did you already, oh, sorry, Judy Fisher?
Aye.
Kathy Welch? Thank you. Meeting is adjourned at 7:24 PM.
I can't see this.
All right.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You too.
Hope you feel better.
We're gonna take a 5-minute break before we start another meeting.
5-minute
Okay.
break.
Yep.
And I'm gonna stop this and then start it so that separate this.
Yep.
I know, my.
Nice to see you, Sam.